Each lifetime is very special because it gives one the chance to recognize more of the isness life is. If one does not find the real guides, it is practically impossible to recognize this true reality. The path through religious, spiritual, and metaphysical systems are steps along the way, but this recognition is not the same as meditation, prayer, austerities, worship, and any number of ways man has gone about to find what he is looking for. The real guides, such as Dwayne, the great writer, Rebbe Zartars, and Paul Twitchell, give us hints, references, guidance, and education on how to proceed with this recognition. Our task is an individual effort to creatively find our way to this recognition. I was 6 months old when we landed in New York after an uncomfortable flight, since I had caught a case of whooping cough. In America, when I came over, in those days, if you were foreign born and came here as a child, you could become a naturalized U.S. citizen after 7 years. Our first real home in America was Michigan, where we lived both in Bay City and Grand Rapids for around 4 years. It was cold in Michigan. I have photos of myself bundled up like an Eskimo to keep warm. Finally, one of my dad's friends suggested we move out to California, where the weather was a lot friendlier. So we packed up the car and drove to a small Northern California college town called Palo Alto, which means tall tree in Spanish. There was a small community of Latvians already established there. We rented a room on top of a duplex with another couple. It was my first memory. Their name was the Schmidts, and they drove a turquoise Nash Rambler that was parked in the garage downstairs. It was the first American-made compact car. I was around 4 years old. I may have purposely blocked out any previous memories of the horrific post-World War II years in Germany. It would be a long time before I understood about modern wars. All modern wars are bankers' wars. Modern wars are started for no other purpose than to force private central banks onto nations, secure natural resources, and consolidate power. Winston Churchill said, quote, "Germany's unforgivable crime before World War II was its attempt to loosen its economy out of the world trade system and to build up an independent exchange system from which the world finance couldn't profit anymore." I encourage everyone to do their own research into the history of things. Reality will start to come alive as to the true motivations of our so-called leaders. One must see things for what they are, not for what one believes they are. The private banks have been given the power to create money out of thin air and dictate beyond governments, the global finance. What this equals is a form of human slavery where the public is out there working their 9-to-5 job, chasing money, which in essence has no value except through the agreement they have been marketed with. The bankers have devised a system to obtain free labor to build their empires on nothing more than a clever scheme of printing money out of nothing, charging interest on that money that doesn't exist, and creating interests on loans that can never be paid back because there is no more money out there than they have created. So how can a person pay off their interest and the loan? It's a system built on debt and control. Around 1955, my parents had earned enough money for a down payment on a small 2-bedroom house in a wonderful neighborhood of Palo Alto, surrounded by old Victorian mansions. The down payment was only $500, and the house only cost $10,000. With the house came a couple of extras, mainly two previous owners who had died and still hung around scaring young kids like me. They were two old ladies that I could never see but rather sensed wandering around, most frequently during the late evening. I would either stick around the TV or find safety under the covers in my bed at night. When people finally let go of the body or die, some are so attached to the physical dimension they stick around as these disembodied entities, and many times with an attitude. It took these two old ladies a moment to figure out there is more to life than the physical reality. There are other dimensions in the worlds of creation, namely the astral, causal, mental, and etheric. We create a form in each one of these areas in order to function. Throughout lifetimes, we gather experiences and views with these bodies, so eventually we can let go of all of them and have the freedom to choose our UP, or universal position, with the ALLLISSS. These two ladies will eventually be drawn back into new bodies for more lifetimes until they start looking for something more. A decision has to be made to see more. Then life will start to show you.